What's up everybody and welcome back to Off the Mark. This is episode 2 and this is going to be recorded before I actually see the critique of episode 1, but please let me know. And this is probably going to be the last game where I don't have the teammate interaction. Again, there's music in the background for the first 2 games because at that point I didn't know if I wanted to make this into a series, but hopefully the reception has been positive. If it hasn't, then I might just stop the series at around 5 episodes, but if it is, I'll keep going till I stop and then may transition to different roles. I'm not too sure. But today it's going to be a new hero. As you can see, we're facing up another team matching component, the usual people. Shred Kid once again is going to be doing the captaining. But today I want to talk about a couple different subjects, and most importantly, your offlaner's role in the overall game plan of your team. And you see, I think we overall executed our game plan rather successfully. But I'm going to show an example of when it doesn't actually turn out. But right now, we're just going through the picks and bans. But as I mentioned in the previous episode, the offlaner is the 3 role. He tends to get third most amount of farm. He tends to help out in team fights. He's overall has to deal with a very difficult situation most of the times. I mean, last game you saw me in a solo situation, but this game, there's going to be something a little different that you'll find out very, very shortly what exactly is going to happen. But remember the 3 golden rules. One is to don't die, because that feeds the opponent experience kills and that doesn't defend your tower, and they can push in for free and they'll be able to camp your tower and all that jazz. 2 is get experience so you can have levels, so you can get more spells, it can overall do more things for your teams. 3 is finally get gold. But I think one of the most underrated rules is to understand your hero's role in your overall game plan of the team composition that you're actually trying to make up. And you're going to see that with our picks. As you can see, they pick up Keeper the Light, and I'm going to try to, or I'm asking SK, or SK's asking me, alright, what pick do you want to go to? So he picks up Barretter, he's going to go Barretter Soul Mid. Again, keep in mind that, other than SK, pretty much the only, actually that's it, SK is the only person on our team who has any sort of competitive scrimming experience with a decent level team. This is all of our first times, DFC, Red Pepper, myself, Taskmaster or Teamaster and Tiaran. We're all just scrubs to competitive Dota for the most part in terms of playing it. But SK asked me which hero do you think would work here and which hero are you most comfortable with. I think Clock works pretty well here, and I'm very comfortable with Clock. Now Clock is an interesting hero for me because I have a certain pattern of how I want to approach heroes. For example, heroes that need to be aggressive like Barretter, like Night Stalker, I just play super aggressive with. Other than that, I'm a very, very passive player. I don't really like to die, and if I get myself into a dangerous situation, I panic. I just panic. If you've ever watched my stream, in those situations I just constantly scream out, I have no idea what's going on, help, help, please, I don't know what's going on. That's basically what happens. But in this matchup, SK said, alright, we're probably not going to contest our Charline. They keep it light, they have Life Stealer. You're going to be up against our Charline. Can you do it? And I feel very comfortable with Clock in saying, yes I can. I played Clock quite a bit in Dota 1. I've not really played him in a team matchmaking setting, but I played him in offlane a couple times in pubs, in matchmaking. So I know what to do, and I know how to execute my role. But as you can see, I make some mistakes in this game. And here's why I picked Clock, as I think... No, I can't really pause the game. But just look at what Clock is designed to do here. They have Keeper Light, who wants to be standing and channeling in place for 5 seconds, and Clockwerk can get an easy initiate on them. They have Lifestealer, who was picked before the Clockwerk choice, and is melee. So he gets utterly destroyed by Cogs, and once Rage is down, he gets utterly destroyed by Battery Assault. They picked up 2 more melee heroes, I'm not too sure why, but they have big ultimates, and they're pretty much one-and-done heroes, so... But still, they're melee. In order to do the rest of the damage, they have to sort of get up close and personal and in your face. But mostly this is designed to counter Keeper Light, so now we have 2 mechanisms to deal with Keeper Light. We have Barrier Lasso and have Clockwerk Hook. And we pick up Gyro with the last pick, so we're going to get on to our heroes and then we'll get into the game. But I'm going to show you an example of a team not really executing, or maybe not executing is the right word, because keep in mind that this is my scrub team at the moment, to put it bluntly, and this is going to be looking at some of the highest levels of professional Dota, as we'll just take a look in just a brief second once everybody picks their heroes, on how the offlaner wasn't really fit well into his game plan. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait till everybody picks their heroes, and then I'm gonna switch over to that view in just a second. Come on, pick the heroes, guys. 2 times speed.
10 seconds remaining.
But yeah, I'm gonna be playing Clock. I'm going up against a Challenge. It's overall sort of similar to, I guess, the situation that you're gonna see in this game. So we'll just bring up that screen in right about now. For example, let's take a look at this game between Fnatic and No Timer from DreamHack Invitational. This is game number 2. In case any of you are interested, this game is, not that interesting, so I don't really recommend to watch it. But let's take a look at the lineups, and let's take a look at Bulldog, because he was in the off lane for the side of No Timer. So I'm just going to pause it right now, and we'll just take a look at the lineups. So inside of Fnatic, we have 2 of the best scaling supports in the game in the form of No Tail online, because Hex never really gets bad, Impale is an AoE stun, and Fear and Death gets lower and lower in terms of cooldown as you level up, so Lion is a fantastic late game support. Rubik is a fantastic late game support because it can steal really strong spells such as RP, which never loses effectiveness, Fiend's Grip, you can get Telekinesis, you can get more mobility items which allow you to cast those spells like Dagger, Force Staff. You get, of course, Phantom Lancer, which is probably the most annoying late game hero in the game to deal with at the moment. You have Lone Druid, being played by Trixie, who has shut down a decent amount, but he's starting to get his farm rolling. And you have Honeypuck, who has just picked up the dagger. Meanwhile, let's take a look at No Timer's lineup. They have Beastmaster, mid-game hero, Aki, playing the Keeper Light, which is mostly early to mid. Well, he's good in all aspects of the game. Luna, who's a mid-game carry, you go for a timing push with the aura being maxed out, and you just really try to take it to them before Phantom Lancer and Lone Druid get too powerful. Bane, who never really loses that much effectiveness, but is really strong in the mid game where you can channel Fiend's Grip without too much worry in ganks, where, in 5v5 engages there are stun slowdown, so you'd rather use a Fiend Grip in ganks. Brain Sap doesn't scale that well, Nightmare is good, Enfeeble is good, but other than that, Bane is not really the best late game support. Of course, he's quite strong, but I don't think he's as good compared to somebody like a Lion or a Rubik. And you have Magnus, who is playing the offlane in this game, who is just now getting some experience as, take a look. Look at the time. It's 14.5 minutes in the game, and look what No Timer's lineup is designed to do. You can see the fact that Admiral Bulldog has Arcane Boots is a small miracle in and of itself, because they managed to get 3 towers with the Luna timing push, with the aura, and with the Glaze bouncing all over the place and just driving people away with S4 coming with the Beastmaster. They have the mechanism, they have the things they need, except for Bulldog, who is just now about to hit level 6. And this is just really unfortunate. Look at Bulldog's score, he's 0-1-1. He did not play a bad offlane. This is just a product of what game he was in. He was pressured a lot, and Magnus as a hero wants levels. And the sooner he can get those levels, the better, as he just gets obliterated right now, because he wanted to try to get his dagger up so they could push in with the Aegis. But unfortunately, with the Aegis timing, he's not going to be close to the dagger. He was pressured so hard in the offlane, he couldn't really do anything. This is why you don't really see Magnus in the offlane anymore, as I'm going to pause the game just to go on the last bit of my tangent. But what is Magnus designed to do in this lineup? Magnus is designed to take team fights. It allows you to open up the team fight rather than just relying on these single target disables. Because otherwise, Phantom Lancer will just illusion spam you and try to wear you down unless you can roar him or Fiend's Grip from right off the bat. And there's always a danger of being hexed, being Rubiked. Keep in mind, Loda does not have a BKB at this point or anything like that, but this is a time where No Timer wants to take complete and utter map control and perhaps break into Tier 3. They have the Aegis, they have everything they need, except Bulldog's only level 6, no dagger in his pocket yet, or not even close. No points to empower because he's only level 6. And he's just not going to have an impact. He's not going to be a teamfight presence. So this is just unfortunate because in this situation, as Magnus, you want to be the primary person who sets up your team fight for your team, but he can't really do that. He'll charge in and he'll just die because he's level 6. He'll get bursted down by Family to lose his spam, he'll get bursted down by Finger of Death, he'll get bursted down by a Blink Dagger Puck. So unfortunately in this game, Bulldog just having a really rough time, and the No Timer game plan completely stutters and crawls to a stop. And I think it's a large product because they couldn't take a team fight without that RP, and it's really difficult to set up the RP when there's a Phantom Lancer spamming the lances. And just, no dagger up, no points to empower, so Lodo can get those extra points into his damage. not even max shockwave. So unfortunately for Bulldog, this really just was not his game. He didn't really play bad necessarily. He didn't die. He died twice, but one of those deaths just happened right there. But overall, he only died once. But for Magnus, a hero who is designed to have as much impact in the game, and of course he has a tremendous impact in the late game with RP. But in this lineup, he wants to have an immediate impact in the late game because they know in the late game they can't be a lone druid, a Phantom Lancer, and a Lion with a Rubik backup and a Puck with a really fast stagger who's probably well on his way towards his next big item. So unfortunately, No Timer's game plan started to a fall or crawled to a stop. Started to a fault when just misspeaking up my ass. But yeah, it crawled to a halt, and then the split push got going, and it never really got stopped. So this game dragged on for another 30 minutes. But ultimately, No Time could never really push into the base. I think they took one Rax once Bulldog got his dagger, but other than that, they just got Phantom Lancer and Lone Druid. So that's what happens when you can't really execute your off lane in your game plan's lineup. So hopefully you learned something from that little explanation. But now back to the replay. Okay, so keep in mind these are two completely different situations as we're just going to get into the game. Did I actually unpause? I'm not too sure. No, I did not. That is quite odd. But those are two different situations. We just saw the mid-game, the Roshan, and we saw just the overall team fight lineups of No Tantra and Fnatic in that game. We never saw Emerald Bulldog's lane phase, but let me tell you, it wasn't pretty, as he really couldn't do anything. I mean, he probably did the best he could, but... And the fact that he only died once means that he managed to accomplish his main goal quite successfully. If you die once, that's usually a decent job. But this game, it's going to be different, as right now I am not selected on Clockwerk, I don't believe. I'm just trying to figure out what items I should get. And this is another problem. I still have to go into the item builds, but you can see me. I'm going to the offlane. I picked Cogs up at level 1. As you can see, the rest of my team is going out to ward together. And I'm going to stay by myself just to... Because I really can't contribute too much with Cogs at level 1. I mean, I might be able to isolate her, but that means I have to get up close and personal. But let's talk about Clockwerk a little bit as an offlaner. Now, usually when Clockwerk is played as an offlaner, he used to pick up Rocket at level 1. And that would be used to drive back the creep, it would be used to push back the creep equilibrium. But now that players have evolved that, no matter what, it's really difficult to disrupt a carry player and his equilibrium. If he constantly controls, if he's a good carry player, then he'll always be able to control creep equilibrium and he should never get experience if the supports are good. But usually Clockwerk these days get level 1 cogs, and you can see I'm just staying very far back. I have no idea where the enemy heroes are. We actually don't have any wards. We just have one Radiant ward on the map just protecting the safe lane farmer who is going to be gyro counter, and you can see I'm already messing up my cog block. But yeah, Cogs is an interesting spell because it lasts for 5 seconds. It's really difficult to attack into it, especially for a hero like Lester who does do a lot of damage. And right now I'm just revealing to myself the fact that, okay, there is actually a Trillion up top, and Keeperlight has no signs of going away. The support is showing himself in the lane. They have 2 supports on the map, so what can I actually do? I'm going to block, this time a little bit more successfully, but you can see the Leicester is actually doing a fine job controlling the creep equilibrium because he has supports helping him out. They're actually not even pulling, which means the supports are going to be underleveled. A bit of a mistake on their part, but still, what can you do? So now I have to decide, what do I want to do here? And the most appropriate answer is that we need to pull, or we need to stack. We have a gyrocopter, and the 2-minute rune's about to happen, so I'm going to stack this camp of ancients, and I'm going to check the 2-minute rune for the Bow Rider. So that's ultimately what I'm going to do. And this is pretty much what you can do as the offlaner in this sort of situation. You're matched up against a Trillion. A Rubik Nyx, Keeper of the Light Trillion, that does ridiculous amounts of damage no matter what. Even if you have cogs, it's probably not going to be too successful of a Trillion to actually approach the lane. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to stack the guild golems, and I'm going to check the rune. Now, there's some other Clockwerk builds that might allow you to go for a bit more experience heavy. Usually, if you're pulled a bit of money, you can get boots first and get cogs level 1, and that can allow you to get a bit more experience. But this build, I figured, I don't really want to play too risky. I'm a very passive player at heart. I don't like to put myself in dangerous situations, otherwise I panic. And we don't really want to feed the lifesteal. They have a really strong mid-game lineup, and we're really comfortable in the mid lane, we're really comfortable on the bottom lane, so we're just going to stay very passive. And you can see right now, I'm going to sap a bit of experience because, again, I'm not exposing myself into a dangerous situation. I know that Carl is most likely pulling. And at this moment, I should be probably pulling, but I guess that bit of experience wasn't really helping. So I'm going to actually go in for another cog block because I think I recognize the fact that I can't actually stack here. And I'm just going to cog block. I might be able to stack at around the 3-minute 40 mark and get the rune checked again because, again, we don't have a ward there. But overall, there's really not too much I can do. But yeah, this is what you do with Clockwerk if you go cogs first and you don't have boots of speed. You just have to play very far back against a trial, and you have to just play very defensively. And now it's more the same. I'm just gonna check out all the items. I'm constantly telling my teammates Nax is not really revealing himself on the map. And keep in mind, I think in the next episode I'll be able to pipe in some teammate interaction. But yeah, actually I'm gonna go for another cog block rather than stacking and checking the rune. It's a bit of a mistake on my part. No, I think I started to realize the error of my ways, but I might be a bit too late for the stack. I think I'm a bit too late for the stack, but I'm gonna check the rune regardless. So a bit of mistiming by me. I don't really have the timings memorized in my head, but at least I know where the rune is. So even though I couldn't get the stack up for the gyrocopter, I checked the rune, and we do get first blood. And this cog, the creeps actually get it big bugged. But the creeps are actually pushing into my tower, so I'm just going to get some experience in last hits. And I saw Keeper Light reveal himself on the middle lane, or that was Rubik on the middle lane, so I know I'm in a bit better situation to actually stay by my tower. If there was Rubik there, if they opened wounds to me and lifted me up, I'd actually be dead. But Keeper Light Nax, when I have the cogs, pretty much means that I won't be able to die. So I managed to hit level 3, which is really, really nice. And that fits into our game plan, because Clockwerk, he's not really the best late game hero for an offlaner. There are other offlaners who you want to pick up if you want to go for the late game. You can pick up Magnus, but again, against a good lineup. I mean, if you're going for the late game yourself, Magnus in the offlane might not be the worst idea. Weaver is a strong late game offlaner. Lone Druid is a strong mid to late gamer because he can push. Nature's Prophet can jungle. Darkseer can jungle. What can Clock do? Clock is a mid-game hero who's designed to disrupt as much as possible and just get in there and just cause all sorts of havoc when he can. So right now I'm just following SK. I'm saying, alright, I guess I should go back top and try to get whatever experience I can get. So, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And now I'm pretty sure I say I don't see the sports on the map. I'm not too sure, and Brewmaster's going to reveal himself, and that's going to be that. Yep, we do see the sports on the middle lane, so I decide, alright, I can get some experience. I have cogs to bail me out of trouble if I get into a sticky situation with the lifestealer. So let me just try to get some experience. Might even be able to get some last hits because the supports have revealed themselves. They are in the middle lane. And I do feel relatively safe. But still, I'm not exposing myself. I don't want to take unwanted harassment. And I had to get myself boot speed, so now I'm definitely comfortable showing myself in the lane because Clockwerk does have higher than average base wound speed, so I just gotta cog him. And just gonna get the heck out of there because cogs for some reason burn through BKB, which is quite ridiculous. So now Lifestealer is out of man. He can't actually initiate on me. And Brewmaster, because he was getting utterly stomped by SK in the middle lane, decides to rotate top for whatever reason. I think at this point I constantly check out Brewmaster's items saying if he has TP or not, what level is he, and SK is telling me, well, he got owned mid, so he's probably not going to be level 6. But yeah, back to Clockwerk. Clockwerk's a hero that is designed to get a lot of mid-game powerhouse and be very, very useful in the mid-game. This is why sometimes you even see Liquid run Clockwerk tri lanes, because he's really strong in the early game, and mid-game is really where he's peaking out. He doesn't really get that much better in the late stages of the game. I mean, Cog is always versatile, but Rocket, Battery Assault does not really scale. Even Hook does not really scale that well into the late stages of the game. It does not that much damage. It's overall not the best spell. So Clockwerk, you want to have your best impact in mid-game, but when you're pressed so hard in terms of experience, you really have to rely on your other heroes to make an impact so that the supports are forced out of your lane, and they have to sort of pressure other lanes instead. Thankfully, my team is doing that quite admirably, and that means I'm allowed to farm up. And I think at this point I'm asking, do I want to get Arcane Boots in mech, or do I want to get something else in mech? Do I need to get mech? And you might find themselves in a situation which goes back to another rule. Always communicate item decisions, because offlaners actually get similar items to mid laners in some situations. For example, if for whatever godforsaken reason you're running, well, it's not even godforsaken reason, if for some reason you're running, say, a Darkseer Beastmaster lane, and you're putting Darkseer off lane, and you're putting Beastmaster mid. And this time I say, alright, Pen is TPing out, be careful, I'm just going to farm up, get some levels online. I mean, I could try to help, but my team wasn't going for an engagement, so ultimately they just said, go farm. But yeah, for example, if you have Darkseer and Beastmaster in the same lineup, both those heroes can get mech. So you decide who can get the mechanism faster, who will be able to get the bigger item faster. In most situations, your mid laner will get a bigger item faster. But if you're an off lane against a solo lane, you might be able to get the big item faster, and you might allow the mid lane to go for some other items that might help out their heroes a bit more rather than helping out the team. In most situations, off laners usually get items that help the team, so usually For example, Clockwerk likes to build Pipe and Mechanism. Barrier, if he goes offlane, likes to build Blink Dagger. But I've seen barriers get mechanisms from time to time. Darkseer gets Mecha and Pipe. Lone Druid gets Pipe, all that. So in this game, I said, alright, I'm getting Arcane Boots because Barrett is not getting Arcane Boots. We actually have a support Naga who probably going Arcane Boots, or I don't know. But Shadow Demon, I think, is getting Arcane Boots. But Clockwerk, if I want to get the mechanism, I need Arcane Boots because Clockwerk has spammable spells, but they require so much of his mana pool if you want to spam them repeatedly. So I think on Clockwerk, in most situations, if you don't have Keeper of the Light on your side, if you don't get Bottle, Arcane Boots is pretty much a necessity. So you can not only keep up your mana pool, but also fuel the mass spam of your spells, and also have enough mana for your full combination. And right now I'm just finishing the Magic Wand. I'm looking for an opportunity to initiate. Just get some rockets, say, alright, whole team is there. We saw it in the wards anyway. And SK is getting initiated on. Let's slow it down a little bit. What exactly am I doing? Rockets fired. The sleep is actually being used. I'm not actually sure if this is the best team fight we want to fight. SK blinks out and we just say, alright, screw it. We want to get the heck out of here. And I think Tyrant 2 did use Ravage, so that was overall a win for us. SK was saved, and we got to use the big ultimate, even though the Brewmaster ultimate is still online. So I figured, alright, they're pushing in, what do I do as Clockwerk? Well, I spam rockets, and I max rockets by level 7 here. In some situations, when I'm going in 1v1 situation, I like to get Battery Assault maxed up. But against a Trial where I have a lot of map control, the lower cooldown and the increased damage of the rocket is really useful, so I max rockets here, which is usually the preferred build. But do consider if you're matched up in a 1v1 situation as a Clockwerk in the offlane against another hero such as, I don't know, Brewmaster, Beastmaster, heroes like that, you might want to max battery yourself if you feel like you can get a kill, because you do have high base movement speed and you might have the potential to open yourself up to a kill. But right now, we pop the smoke, and we're gonna go look for an engagement. So right now I'm not very comfortable because I'm not that tanky. I actually look for a hook and I hook my teammate. Miscommunication, also bad play by me, so I gotta work on that. The communication was not the best. I think SK called the blink and Brewmaster trying to kiss his ultimate, but ultimately was not too successful, so that is unfortunate for him. But that's a big victory for us, even though my level 1 hook was ultimately wasted. We got 2 kills, so not really too much can be said. And that's one thing I have to work on with Clockwerk. Even though I'm very comfortable in a Clockwerk with a Trion versus a solo matchup, I have to work on my communication because my hooks, I just sort of fire it out there when I see an opening. And I really don't communicate. And right now I finished the mechanism, so we're saying, alright, we're stacking this camp, which is, again, what you should be doing if you have a clear creep camp. But unfortunately it doesn't stack because I messed up the timing, firing a rocket because I'm going back to heal, and getting the mechanism. And overall I didn't want to fight with full HP because Clockwerk, again, really needs items and levels, because he's a tanky hero, but he doesn't really have the best armor. You can see I only have 5 at the moment without the mechanism. And I think I decided I want to engage in this. I fight against Aleister, I pop the mechanism, and I go back onto the Rubik and I die. I think that team fight, I was just overall not really too sure what I was going to do. So that was another example of miscommunication on my part, as that was ultimately my failure in executing that role. So again, communication, I have to learn on how to do that, to say, alright, I'm going to hook in, what do we do here, what do we do here, but you can see I make up for it a little bit in this later stages of the game. But yeah, back to Clockwerk. He is a tanky hero, but he wants to be up close and personal in your face, and ultimately teams are gonna be drawn to focus him. And if you die without getting your full battery assault damage, without, you know, sparing rocket twice, you're not gonna be as useful as other heroes, as we're gonna get initiation. And now I'm gonna get back into it, so now I'm gonna slow it down. Gonna cast the battery assault, gonna try to get up close and personal in everybody's face, get a 2-man cog, pop the mechanism, sets up for a nice con, and this is the ultimate sort of sacrifice of a Clockwerk. Since you're going to be in the middle of every action, you're going to die. But if you manage to get enough farm on the offlane, then you'll be able to have a big contribution. In this case, I cast the mechanism and was able to survive, and was able to keep the cog sustained for quite a bit, and able to do a reasonable amount of damage. We got a double kill for a single kill, which is overall a good fight for us. But still, I'm very angry because our team is doing quite well and I'm feeding, so I'm sobbing to myself quietly in my sleep.
Players here.
I think at this point I decide, alright, are we making a pipe? I think I'll go for a pipe. But at this point in the game, I'm just clearing out the top wave, and then I'm probably going to swing right back mid. Because again, at this point in the game, Clockwerk wants to be fighting. He doesn't really get that much better as the game goes on. I mean, he does get better with items, but he doesn't scale well with that great of items. The best item you can probably make is like Mechanism to get Shivas or Hex, but his abilities do not scale. Battery Salt never really gets better in terms of damage. Rocket Flare never gets better in terms of damage. And you just sort of have to spam all your spells in order to really utilize that. So I just clear 1 or 2 creep waves. Actually, am I clearing some more? Dang, I'm feeling really greedy. Maybe it's because I'm feeding. So I guess I'm going to clear a couple more creep waves before I actually go back and try to help my team. But constantly, I'm checking to see where they are because they're not on the map. And now we see that they're in our jungle because they did smoke up. But the most important thing of Clockwerk is also to constantly spam your rockets, because rockets is probably your best spell. It gives you map vision, it gives you more room to maneuver, it allows you to keep yourself and your teammates safe. And now I think we're going to fight. SK is in a bit of trouble, he just blinks out, so we're not going to fight. I'll try to get better on that as well as the series goes on. I'll try to sort of slow it down for team fights so I can explain exactly what I'm doing. But we're going to cast a sleep here, and now we're going to go to work because the sleep, we dispelled it immediately afterwards. Didn't really find a proper opening to go in. Why am I not popping the mechanism? Pop the mechanism. Alright, I popped the mechanism to save the Naga. And now I'm being cycloned up in the air. If I can bait out a spell like Cyclone, that's great, because again, I'm not the primary damage dealer. I missed the hook because I miscalculate. I'm really bad. So that's ultimately all I can say. But we managed to win on a team fight with no wipes. The mechanism was nicely timed. The cogs, I mean, got a Cyclone myself. And SK is cleaning up. So ultimately can't really be too disappointed. And I think SK said that was a spite Force Staff in the conversation. But right now we're feeling really strong. We baited out their eye, which we're going to go in, and we're going to try to end the game. But yeah, all of my mistakes in this game, no lag whatsoever. They're just all my mistakes, so I'm going to own up to them fully, and hopefully I can learn from them. But again, at this point in the game, if you pick a Clockwerk, you really sort of have to devote yourself to mid-game lineup unless you go for all turtle mode, which you also need to keep with light because that just demolishes creep plays. Or if you have Furion, that can work well as well, because Rocket Flare with Nature's Wrath is kind of annoying. But right now, I'm looking for an opening, not seeing an opening. SK is diving in because he's not really afraid of anything. And the bottom tower fell. So right now, I don't know exactly what we're doing. I think we're deciding whether we should rush or we should push. And I think the conclusion is why not do both. So we push out mid, and we're going to go into rush. Now, SK tells me I'm just going to fire rockets constantly. SK tells me something I forgot. You should pop the mechanism at the beginning of the rush fight so you can give everybody armor, which I failed to do because I'm bad. But now we see the initiation going in. Again, I get focused for whatever reason. I pop the mechanism by blocked to low HP. I can't really find an opening because I'm not suicidal. This is sort of me playing the very cautious role. But here I think I do actually make a good play. I go into everybody, or may I see everybody. And keep in mind, SK is giving us fly vision all the while. I say, oh crap, this might not be the best engagement. I say, should I go in? Alright, I'm going in. Because they used all their ultimates, Panda Brewmaster ultimates down, and we decide to take the fight. And I get Flame Breaked out of there, or I get dragged out of there by the Rubik with his lasso. But ultimately, this is going to be a very successful engagement. We managed to immediately kill off their main DPS dealer, which is the Nyx. Mechanism's going down, so I should be able to survive this fight. And so that's an instance where communication is actually really, really nice. We communicate, alright, we're going back in there. So I hooked in. I actually managed to land a hook for once. Jesus Christ. I don't know actually how that happened. Clearly a mistake or a misclick on my part. But we win the fight. They used all their ultimates in that exchange. They're not having a good time overall. And I just go for Aghanims because, you know, that's standard. Mostly I picked up the point booster to give myself a bit of HP. Now if I was really good, I'd pop the point booster, or drop the point booster and mechanism up so I'd get overall more bonus HP. But unfortunately, I am not that good. But now we're gonna push in. I think we said, alright, should we rush or we should we sustain the push? Did we actually clear rush? I'm not too sure. But right now I'm trying to communicate whether we want to go in. SK blinks in, I hook in onto the Nyx, I'm trapped in the Nyx. I'm gonna die again because that's what Clockwerk does, but as long as you can take the brunt of Nyx's damage, that allows Gyrocopter, Batrider to roam free. And we get destroyed because it was a bad engagement. But we do kill Nyx, which is something. But overall, we have a game plan, which is to win the mid game, and we're executing it. We have strong late game heroes that transition well, but I mean, we want to win the mid game. So overall, I'm just getting items that can help us win. I'm going to go into Agonimps because I think Blade Mail won't be too effective since it's primarily the lifesteal is focusing me, and Blade Mail won't affect magic immune targets. I think that was my logic. I might be trying to sound smart here, but I might actually be completely wrong in my logic. But again, with Clockwerk, you want to constantly spam. And actually there, nobody was stacking the Ancients, which is again something I should probably do. But whenever you never see the opponents on your map, you should be firing rockets, which is what I'm doing. And I was doing this by myself, nobody reminded me. This is just because we saw nobody on the map, so I'm constantly firing rockets so we can get increased vision and try to see where they are. They're counter warding, so I'm now trying to see if they're going to jungle up or if they're going to smoke up. We don't actually know because they're smoked up, but overall we're feeling comfortable. I'm going to probably spam another rocket into the Roche pit. Or no, we have Shadow Poison scanning it out. We're going to check the jungle, they're not there, and now they're going to blink in onto the fight, so this is going to be another team fight. And Kyle gets cleared up, and now that Kyle's dead, we're just like, alright, push in, let's own them. So I just push out bot, or are we going for Roshan instead? I think we're going for Roshan because I think we managed to get one pick off at the beginning of the last fight, so we decided to actually be safe this time. So we're going to go back into Roshan. And now they have all their ultimates up, so if they want to take the fight, they have every right to do so. And now, do I actually pop the mechanism? I'm getting bashed to death. I don't pop the mechanism. That's another mistake on my part. I guess I want to save it. Oh, I want to save it if there was a team fight, because I thought the burst healing would be very useful. But still, I probably should have used it at the very beginning so we could get armor, and we wouldn't have to use an iron charge. But ultimately, it doesn't actually matter too much in the end. And right now, we're just clearing it out. I think we're going to push in and try to win right here. So we'll slow it down right now. Again, spam rockets and stuff, give everybody vision. Rocket has a long duration, cancelling any daggers. If they have daggers, we pop the pipe. We're going in, and SK is just like, alright, YOLO. Because our team name is Yo-Lu. Yo-Yo-Lu. So we get the blink in on the Nyx once again. I'm going to get up close and personal. I pop the mechanism at the beginning, and that means I'm going to die because... No, I guess I'm not. I have the magic wand, so I'm going to wand up. And I ultimately do die, which is unfortunate. But we're cleaning up, and at this point we pretty much just win the game. So really not much else can be said. I think the rest of the time is just found farming, because you can actually just disconnect and leave yourself a team matching. No, actually it's not that much time of found farming, so, you know, I'm surprised for once. But yeah, the game plan, or the lesson you should take away in this game is, if you pick an offlaner, make sure it fits into your overall game plan, and try to execute that, because more often than not, if you pick an offlaner and you're laning up against a Trillion, you'll be pressed for experience, so you have to judge for yourself whether that this hero, if matched up against a Trillion, can overall fit into your game plan. For example, in the game that we watched, Bulldog getting a very, very late level 6 and not having a Blink Dagger up was really not that good for no time to. They couldn't really look for a team fight despite having a really strong Luna. I mean, they were going to get split pushed, they were going to get killed, and they were ultimately not able to win the game. In this game, we're not facing any of those great late game heroes, but still, Clockwerk is a mid game hero. I want to take fights in the mid game, so that's what we decided to do in the end. But yeah, this is going to be episode 2 of Off the Mark, and in the future I will have Mumble interactions, so hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And let me know if you like me editing some clips in from programs. I might just do some text editings for the ideas I want to convey in the end. But if this is a series I want to keep up and see more of, please leave comments and feedback, likes, dislikes, subscribes. And I will try to continue this for as long as I feel like it can be useful to other people. But yeah, that's gonna be episode 2 of Off the Mark. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all next time. In a second, once you pull down the file score screen. JK was a replay. Alright, see you.